Hello, everybody out there. This is Tanin and Michelle from Retreat Guru. And in this live webinar replay, we're going to be going over how to become a report wizard, as we can see with our fine little Merlin friend here. And just a quick sharing about who I am before we get into that. So I work on support, as most of you probably know, help our clients solve issues and problems and come to resolutions, which all feels really good to me. And I also put on the project management hat sometimes and the onboarding hat sometimes. And one thing that I really appreciate about working here is we have this beautiful company culture of empowerment where we're really encouraged to make mistakes, to take chances, to take risks, to learn from them, and encouraged to grow. And so I've been experiencing a lot of that at my time here, and I'm really grateful for that. And Michelle, would you like to share a little bit about you?
Sure. I'm Michelle and I'm a project manager. I actually started off as a client. Love Retreat Guru so much that I asked if there were any jobs going, and here I am. And one of the things that I really love about being here is not only do we have Retreat Guru, but we have a co-working space. And building community internationally and on the ground here, live, together, with real human beings, is very, very exciting.
Sweet. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, so what we're going to be covering in this webinar will be hopefully, oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So we're going to be learning how to breathe easy with reports. Not always the first thing that comes to mind when you think about working with reports. So we're here to shift that, to change that, to create a solid foundation for you to have a good understanding of the basics of how reports work. And of course, we're going to be going over some new features and functionality that we're really excited to show you guys. Some things that have literally just came in hot off the press yesterday. So just in the nick of time. And we're going to be showing you how to create registration reports, transaction reports. We're going to be showing the new ways of exporting reports so you can export to your heart's content. We're going to be educating you on how to navigate standard reports, or rather Michelle will be doing that. So taking a look at all the standardized reports that come with the software. We're going to be diving into how to customize and edit your reports. And the proper way of doing that, and some of the new features and functionality with that, which we will get into on the call.
Awesome.
And finally, what we're going to be, we'll be discussing briefly how you can set up automated scheduled reports, which is really exciting. So you can have reports coming into your email inbox daily, weekly, monthly, or those of your colleagues, or those of your staff. And it's a very seamless, very simple process to get that going. With, of course, some tips and tricks and RG etiquette along the way.
So, you betcha.
So without further ado, we're going to jump into the webinar and hope you guys enjoy it.
Great. So the screen that you can see is an administrative view. So there may be some things you see on the screen you don't normally see. Don't worry, that's okay. We're just going to draw your attention to the registrations area. And we're just clicked in here to all registrations. This area is really important for finding out any information that guests have given you when they've booked their stay. So anything to do with the details of their stay is going to be found here. When you come to the screen, you can see there are a number of quick hyperlinks that are available at any time. You can see anybody who's arriving today, tomorrow, anyone who's leaving this week, for example. That's easy stuff. What we want to get into today is showing you the filters and reports. So I'm just going to click here on filters and reports. And here you can see we have a number of choices related to the program, the date someone registered, when they're staying, etc. One thing that we might want to pull a report on when we have guests coming is to know who has a balance due. So say, for example, we're looking at this program. Well, let's just do all programs for now. And we want to see who has a balance due. I'm just going to select balance due for registration, show summary, and apply filter. Takes a few seconds to load, and then if you scroll down your screen here, you'll see that we have a summary, and supposedly these are people with balance due. The funny thing is I can see all this other stuff on my screen. So one tip I want to give everyone before we start is screen options. What you see on your screen is managed here beneath your name is screen options. So when you click on this, you can choose what columns will appear on your screen. I'm, as an administrator wanting to know who's paid, I don't want to know about their meditation experience or how long they've been meditating for. So I'm going to check off some of these questions here, and you'll see I need to select balance due in order to see it on my screen. So although I had chosen a filter to show balance due, it wasn't visible on my screen. Now that I've selected balance due in the screen options and applied it, I will be able to see it on the screen. So again, I'll scroll down, and here we have this column showing balance due. Another tip, we're really into tips here, is table size. We all have ways that we work best, and some of that is around our visual, what we see visually. So you can just click on the cog setting here for table size and adjust your table view. There are 4 settings. This one is fit columns to view. You can have it be cozy. You can explore all 4 of these in your own time, but encourage you to set it up the way that you like to work for greater clarity. So the next thing that I wanted to draw attention to, I'm just going to scroll back up. We've looked at balance due and a summary. I also wanted to show you that we have a way to have some of the questions that we choose on the registration form to display here in our filters. So some of these questions, for example, are special diet, do you snore, etc. When we select these, we can pull a report to show this information specifically. But how do we get that set up in our questions to make sure we can pull a report on it? That's what we're going to do next. I'm going to take a little leap over to questions, and I'll return to the registration section after we've created a question together. So just coming over here onto the question section, I'm going to go to add new. I'm going to create a question. We just had Halloween here, so in the theme of our invitation, I'll just write trick or treat as the question. For the type of question, I'll just throw in the drop down, trick, treat, if I can spell, and we can add help text here. The key thing that I want to make sure everybody is aware of is if I want to pull a report on this question, it needs to be added to my registrations list and filter, and this is where you select the box. You also have other options here, which I encourage you to explore in your own time, but for today I'm just going to stick with registrations. I'm going to save and insert this question. Now I'm going to go back to registrations. When I click on all registrations and filters and reports, I'm going to see here that here's my new question, trick or treat. If I want, I can pull a report on everyone who selected trick. The other thing to make sure that I can see it on my screen is noting here it's selected in screen options because it appears on my screen. So again, just reviewing screen options, trick or treat, it's selected, so that's how I can see it. The other thing I wanted to show everybody is how to save a report. If, for example, I want to pull a report on everyone who has a balance due, who has any special dietary needs, and I want to be able to share this with the kitchen by clicking Show Meal Summary, I am going to select these filters and I'm going to apply filter here. Nothing is showing up in my meal summary because there's nothing happening in that time. So just to show those of you who have not used the meal summary before, I'm just going to select a date back here for this program. And we're going to select apply filter here. And when we scroll down here, I get a beautiful visual for this retreat. There's a small number on the retreat who will be here for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on these specific dates. So I can print this and share it with our kitchen team. I can also see who has a balance due and how much. If this is a report that I want to save and pull regularly, just adjust the dates for a different program, I can easily come in here, save filter as report, call it program report, and in here I'll put balance due and meal summary. This is the key information that I'm pulling here. I'm going to save report. Now I have a report which is called the program report. So when I click into filters and reports, I see it here. I can click into it at any time, edit it, adjust the program that I want, and view it, save it, and view it again. So I think that's everything that's useful for now. I don't want to overwhelm you all. We are here to breathe easy with reports. So I'll hand you over to Tanin now, who is going to take you into some pretty exciting new things in the transactions area.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to dive into transactions now. And there are some exciting new features and functionality here that I really want to show you guys. So as you'll notice right off the bat, things look pretty familiar, you know. Similar filters as we get with the registration page. Similar way of working, of course, different categories and items to work with. So let's just keep things really basic, that we want to pull a financial report from October 1st until the end of November. And we want to see the card payments that were made. And we also want to see, actually, you know what, we're just going to leave it at that for now. So we can just see what card payments were made for that duration. And then we have a total of 3 card payments, card transactions for that time. Great. If we want to get a little more information, we can go, all right, well, let's see. How do we do for lodging for those dates? How do we do for programs for those dates and for price add-ons? And let's apply that filter. And we're going to see, okay, here's our lodging transactions. Here's our program transactions. Here's our price add-on transactions. Wonderful. One thing that I'm not seeing, however, is I'm not seeing a person's name. So again, as Michelle showed you guys in the registrations page, there's also screen options here for transactions. And I can go up here and say, oh, there's the person. Okay, let's apply that. Because I actually want to see, you know, I want to see who's buying these things, who's buying the retreats, who's buying the add-ons. And we can see that Yogi Bear was the most recent registration, and he attended the How to Be Ultra Spiritual program. So good for Yogi Bear doing that important work. So now what I would like to show you guys, a couple new things here. You will notice that with the show totals and summary, I'm going to apply that. And this is going to look a little different than what you might be used to. Ta-da! So in the past, of course, being on support, I've got a lot of requests and explaining what's going on with our summary here. And so our wonderful developers have made this a lot more clear, a lot more organized. Very, very grateful to them. So now we can see that the breakdowns here for our items, the lodging, the programs, and the price add-ons for the duration of those dates. We can see the payments that were made, that were actually collected for that. And we can even see the number of nights sold. So we have 58 nights total that were sold between those dates. Beautiful. If we need a little help, there's even some summary help here. but I'm not going to go into that just yet because that's gonna tail into something else that I want to show you guys, and that is the revenue date. So your accountants are probably gonna love you or love us for this, because this is another term that you may know it as is accrual accounting, and we're gonna apply the filter here, and you're gonna notice that the information is gonna be a little different. So there's a lot more revenue coming in now, and this is because with this revenue date type filter, we're actually seeing the revenue is calculated based on the actual stay dates of the registration, and the lodging is recognized on a nightly basis. So if you have, to put it as an example, if you have a program that is starting before October 1st, but it runs into October 1st, those dates for the program that run into October are going to be counted in this. Those actual stay dates are going to be counted in this, and that's why you're seeing a higher total here. Or on the other end, if there's a program that ends or starts at the end of November and runs past November, the dates that the person is staying for November will be counted here. So this is we're really excited about this new feature. A lot of accountants have been asking for this actually, and you'll see that there's a little bit of summary help here to help break that down further for you guys. So, and if we go down here, we can now see the revenue and the revenue dates. So for something such as extra nights, we can see that, let's see if we can find an extra nights in here. Yes, so that's lodging. So you can see that for the lodging, that is broken down for November 29th and November 30th, $52.50 for per night. And then if for a program cost, of course, that's a one-time cost. So that's just going to be November 18th, $500 for the program. Wonderful. And so this is some really awesome new power for you to for your accountants more to break down the financials and see where things are going. And actually, where I want to lead you guys into next with that is into transaction categories, and show you how that works, because that's another really powerful way of tracking your financial information. So we're going to take a little detour here into reg settings, and then we are going to go into transactions. And you'll see that I already have a bunch of transaction categories made here. And we're going to do one, for an example, we're going to do a spa. So a couple other new things here that I'm going to draw your attention to. Now we have different revenue types. So there's the single, we can set it to nightly, like I said, for lodging or for extra nights, if you want to have it broken down nightly, or for some things it's going to be non-applicable, such as cash refund, other refund, those kinds of things. So for the spa, it's going to be a single. And then we have a GL code here. Again, something that your accountants are going to really appreciate. This is a way that they can be tracking that financial information and using that and pulling that into their spreadsheets. I'm not going to show you exactly how that works, just going to draw your attention to that. It is now possible to add that GL code. So that's really awesome. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and save the changes here with our new spa transaction category. And I'm going to show you from start to finish how this process would look, from creating it to the guest registering to it showing up in your reports. So we're going to go into our program here now, and we're going to go into one of my favorite programs, How to Be Ultra Spiritual, the full 3 weeks, and we are going to register as a guest. Actually, I'm a little bit ahead of myself here. Before we do that, I'm going to set up a add-on. I'm going to go into the program, I'm going to go into pricing, and then we're going to pretend that that wasn't already there, and we're going to say, okay, so I want to create a massage optional item with the transaction category of spa, the one that we just added there. Perfect. It's not per night, $55, wonderful. One-time transaction, we're going to update that. And now we're going to do a test registration here. So we're going to go register as a guest. And we're going to book into a single room, and we're going to definitely take that optional item of the massage. We're going to fill in a test registration, scroll down to the bottom here, click register now. And we have our nice fake Joe Schmo credit card. We're going to go ahead and register. And now that that has gone through, we can go back to the transactions page. We're going to refresh this. And you can see that now spa is showing up as a transaction category under items. Beautiful. So we can filter for that. And we want to see if we can find that spa transaction that we just processed through that registration. So add the spa, we go down here, we can see Yogi Bear, who's been very busy, and there it is, spa revenue of $55 under the that is the transaction category of spa.
Great.
So that's how you're going to do it from beginning to end with that. Now, I would like to show you guys, so Michelle already showed you how to save a filter as a report, so I'm not going to do that here. I already have a pre-saved report, and what I want to draw your attention to now is some new functionality with exporting reports and editing your reports as well. So we're going to go into a report, and we are going to explore that a little bit together. So here we have the report that Michelle created, the program report, and we also have a quarterly financial report. So let's take a look at a quarterly financial report since we're working on transactions. And here we can see the dates from October 1st to December 31st. And you can see, of course, there's more options for what we want to filter for. But what I want to draw your attention to is down here, you may notice that there are things look a little different. And I'm going to show you some of the new functionality here with the screen columns, first of all. So now you can add and remove the columns that you would like to be exported through the screen columns. So that's really great. So now the screen columns and the export columns are going to be matching up, whereas in the past that wasn't always the case. One thing worth mentioning about that, though, is that the screen columns may not have all of the potential export columns that you would like to use. So if you're not seeing a particular question or something in screen columns, what you can do is you can search for it here. So if you've created a custom question, or we want to be able to bring up that spa category or all of our items, you can simply type in the first letter of a word and you're going to see a bunch of options pop up for you to choose there. Another new feature. One of our beautiful developers, Cloud, was working on this, so many thanks to Cloud. And so this is some of the new functionality that we're talking about with regards to exporting your reports and editing your reports. And then we can go ahead and save this report. And now that it's been saved, let's go ahead and view it. See our beautiful breakdown with our brand new shiny summary table. And we can go down to the bottom here. And one other thing worth mentioning, again, this has been something that's come in on support from you a few times. People are saying, when I go to export the results, it's not giving me all the screen columns or all the export columns. And so you can export the results as it is now, and it's going to give you what you see, which is great. Or if you would like to export it with all columns, you click on this little export options plus box, and that's going to give you the option of exporting the results with all of the columns available. So all you see here plus many, many, many more. So I think that is about as much I'm going to go into for now. I realize that it's quite a bit. Hopefully you guys have a nice chance to absorb that and integrate that. And of course, we're recording this video, so you'll be able to go back and go over things if you didn't quite catch something, and ask questions at the end. So that's what I'd like to show you for now. And now Michelle is going to take you guys quickly through some of our standard reports.
Okay. Thanks, Tanin.
Yes.
There's a lot of data there, which is mostly useful for anyone who's reporting for the bookkeeper, or if they're reporting on accounts. So it might not be an area that all of you use, but it's highly valuable for those who do. What I'm going to draw our attention to now, and I'm just going to touch on this lightly, is our standard reports. So we do have a number of default reports that are set up in the reports section under standard reports. And these reports were created because a number of centers were using them, and we wanted to make them available to everybody in the hope that they would be useful. I'm going to start from the bottom up. So starting with the kitchen report, this gives a daily summary of what's happening in the kitchen. So I'm just going to pick October 31st as an option, select Show Report, and here we get a summary of all the people who are on property at this time, registered for programs. We get a view of any special dietary needs, diet notes, and we get a count at the bottom here. We get a lovely summary that the kitchen can use. This can be printed off by selecting Command P and is super helpful on a daily basis. I did show you in the registration section that you can print a meal summary report per program for an extended period out in time. And that is available through the registrations section, and you can customize it in your program. Going back to standard reports, another useful report that some people use, for example, is the program tally. And again, I'm just going to go back to October 31st as an example, select Show Report. And here it's going to show whatever programs were in place, and then unfortunately we didn't have anybody at that time, so let me just click back and change it to September, and here we'll get a summary of all the programs that were in place, the dates, the number of participants, the total number of people at that time. It's just an easy summary, and again, as Tanin said, you can export results into a CSV file. The standard reports, there are a number of them. I encourage you all to just go in and explore and see what's there. What I did want to draw your attention to are these two reports, the Download Finance Report and the Program Reports. And the reason is that our reporting is crafted by department. So you can pull data on registration information, you can pull data on transaction information, but there are very few reports where you can cross over that information. You can do that in the program reports. You can get a summary of all the people who attended your programs, how much they spent, what it was spent on, and a running total from the beginning of time for your programs. I'm going to leave it at that. I think it's pretty straightforward to go in and explore, and you can reach out at any time if you have further questions. And I'm going to pass you over to Tanin, who's got a little more exciting news. He gets the exciting stuff today.
Exciting stuff. Lucky me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle. So the last thing that I wanted to touch on, which we mentioned in the message that we sent out, was we now have the ability to create automated scheduled reports, which is super cool, super awesome. So basically what that means is through the magic of Zapier, which is an app we can use to integrate Retreat Guru with a whole bunch of different other apps, we can set it up so that you can have a report that's going to be sent daily or weekly or monthly to your email inbox, or to the inbox of your colleagues, of your staff, whoever you would like to receive certain reports. You can set it up to have a kitchen report, a transaction report, registration report. It'll all be automated. So that's really, really beautiful, really exciting, and actually really simple to set up too, surprisingly simple. So simple that I'm not going to be showing you on the call, but I've already done a tutorial video on how to set that up. It's about 7 minutes long. And we will be sending that out along with the recording of this webinar shortly, within the next couple of days. So if there is an interest for you in having those automated scheduled reports set up, we can definitely do that now, which is wonderful. And if you guys are hearing the little gong bell there, that's just a nice reminder to just breathe and be mindful for a few moments. That's great. I will mention though that there is a little bit of limitations with it. At the moment, it can only be a daily report, so whatever is going on day to day. If you would like it to be like a report showing your weekly registrations or monthly registrations or yearly, that's going to require a little more technical know-how. And I'll also include a link to a document showing you how you can set that up. But to just get the ball rolling and get things started, it's a very, very simple, straightforward process to connect up with Zapier. And if you're not familiar with Zapier, you can register for a free account, which works beautifully. And if you end up using it a lot more and you end up needing more zaps, as they call them, you can upgrade your account to a paid version. But for what I'm speaking about right now, it works perfectly just with the free version as it is. So I think that's about all we're going to be downloading you guys with today in the way of us speaking. So now we would love to hear from you if there's any questions.